Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, we will discuss about zoology and ecological perspective. How zoology will help us understanding ecological relationship between different organisms. First of all, we will learn about ecology. Ecology is house logos to study is the study of relationship between organism and their environment. It is an important study and it helps us understand how different organisms affect environment and how environment affect different type of organisms. And there is a delicate balance between organism and their environments, and organism depend upon the environment and environment also change when it is by the activity of organisms. We have to understand this due to the massive overpopulation and massive use of the fossil fuel, there are the negative impact on ecology and living organisms and living environments, and this will help uh, this will destroy the habitat of various living organisms, and this will cause extinction of various living organisms as well, and many species are destroyed. There is delicate ecological balance, there are predator prey relationship between organism, and we if we want to introduce an organism in particular type of area, it may change or may disturb the delicate balance between organism, and if we introduce an exotic plant in particular area, it may also change the delicate balance between organisms. And there are also many negative effects of living organism or human activities, especially on living organism, like deforestation, it is using fossil fuels and polluting environment, and these polluted environment also affect living organism negatively. We will learn about from the history that how the zoology will help us understanding ecological perspective by looking at particular type of example, like Nile perch. Nile perch was introduced in Victoria Lake for the production of the more meat of this species, as it is used for various purposes like the food purposes and hiding, tanning, and it's also used for oil productions. It was introduced in Lake Victoria species, and it has resulted in population decrease, and it is resulted in negative effect on cichlids species, and it was decreased from 80% to 1% of population of cichlid species, and there were many extinctions happened, and that extinctions. Then predations by Nile perch also resulted in extinction of 68% of cichlid species, like many species were also extinct, and populations were also decreased from 80% to 1%. And it was also resulted in negative changes, like cichlid species was feeding on particular type of algae, and when there were no cichlid species, there was decrease in cichlid species. Algae grow exclusively on the surface, and this resulted in negative changes like eutrophications and poor light for from the earth, and there were also visibility losses from the cichlid species and other species, like many species use for visual cues and color patterns for particular type of behaviors and cues, and some mouth brooder species will have to collect their eggs, and they will have to recognize them for particular type of eggs of their own species to brood them. They have to look forward threats and look forward the prey, and in the absence of dim light or water turbidity, it also affected their visibility negatively. Then there will also a negative effect of human populations, like when Nile perch was caught and it was used for the eatings, it decreased the Nile perch, and there were a hope that there will be increase in cichlid species, and it is improving so in this way, and by this is the cichlid species. and by catching or by capturing Nile perch, their population decreases, and there was a chance for the citrus species to increase. But there was another problem: its skin is oily, and to cook its human have to burn many woods, and this resulted in deforestations, and deforestations resulted in the carbon emissions. It also resulted in the uh, increase in greenhouse effects, and greenhouse effects also affected negatively, and there were also waterlogging and increase in the mud from far side of forests to into the Lake Victoria, which also decreases the visibility of the light and make the water turbid. It was also affecting it negatively. The most important effect of human population, human on living organism is population. Human population is increasing day by day, and it is adding more and more. Human population are adding to this earth, and this will affect negatively to living organism, and resources like pressure and resources is increasing day by day, and they are using more and more resources, and depletion of resources, and carbon emission is increasing, the carbon dioxide is increasing, and like it resulted in global warming and greenhouse effects. Like populations is of every region of the world, like Africa is increasing by, it is 1.03 in 2012, but it will be about 2.3 in 2020, 2015, and all populations of all the continents will increase, and population pressure will also increase, and this resulted in deforestations, more use of resources, the depletion of resources, and uncommon and unfair distribution of wealth also uh, occurs. Solution to it that we should use proper knowledge of ecology, and this will help us understand. We will make the family planning for the populations, and we will use different type of uh, solutions that are useful for living organisms and different type of animals and plants. We will avoid deforestations, avoid carbon emissions for particular type of use, for particular type of living organisms. Like living organisms are most important for drugs, our meats, our food requirements, and same as plants are also important. We gums, resins, antibiotics, and drugs also used for a particular type of living organisms. And so the knowledge of ecology is very important, and zoology help us making the attentions of living organisms and populations to this issue.